Hello there, mortals and mystics. Welcome to Basically Misled. I'm Dagny.
And I'm Day.
We give advice. 50% is life-changing, 50% will leave you crying in a stairwell by the end of the day. You decide which is which.
Come procrastinate with us while we chatter endlessly about things you could probably just Google.
Today's episode, fear. It's about striking the fear into the hearts of our listeners with this episode.
Be ready to be extremely fearful by the end of this episode. Just realizing all the things you could be fearing right now.
Actually, not at all. It's actually, I've always found it more relaxing to listen to other people's fears than to talk about your own. No?
Well, yes.
But then I feel like, I'm not alone.
Yeah, but then I'm also like, oh, I didn't think about that. Shit! Now I'm more fearful of that. Yeah.
Well, let's start off easy with a fear in social situations, because it is, I feel like being, like, young, I feel like college is, like, the last age when people, you can be afraid of social situations at any age, but I feel like college especially, it's, like, maybe some, like, new situations, like, new, like, job type situations, like, new class situations.
Right.
Got a lot of peers. People pressuring you to do drugs. That's something to be afraid of for sure.
What?
I know.
Drugs? Oh my god.
At Evergreen. Can you imagine?
No. You're lying to me.
I think my major fear in a social situation is two things. Either one, being unaware of common knowledge that everyone else knows. Like, I'm learning computer science right now, and so when I'm like, I wonder what this acronym is, like, I think it is a fear that if I ever ask something like that, people would respond with, oh yeah, that's literally the most basic information anyone could have ever thought of, ever, and it's just like a total disgrace that you've not even heard of that till now. That you weren't just born knowing that.
I did not know computer people were that bitchy.
Oh, they're not. That's just my fear.
Okay, that's what I thought.
My second fear is to be unaware of common social practices. Like, just that things that everyone's naturally doing that they don't tell you about, and then you just totally just blow past it because you had no idea. So basically it all boils down to looking like a complete idiot.
Yeah, I'm kind of along those lines. Mine was, I wrote down pure panic about if I'm being socially acceptable. Which, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm usually socially acceptable. I'm not that eccentric.
You are too. You mean, like...
Just, like if I'm doing the correct thing. Like, if I...
Clothes? Like...
Yeah, clothes, behavior, talking. Should I be smiling?
Oh.
Is it weird that I'm just standing... Like, at parties, I feel really awkward because I'm like... am I supposed to behave? Especially since I usually don't go to parties and get hammered. So, like, that's the correct behavior, is to be hammered at a party. And I'm just, like, in the corner, chilling.
Yeah, I kind of do the same thing where I'm like, is it socially acceptable to, like, dance right now when nobody else is dancing and this is, like, people are just playing beer pong? And then I'm like, then I do it anyway. And then people laugh at me, and then I'm like, oh well.
See, I think I have fear about, like, people talking behind my back about things I do in social situations. Or, like, laughing at me. I don't like that.
I feel like I have less of a fear of people talking behind my back because I guess because when I, like, have, like, you know, those, like, fear situations that you think of and you're like, oh no. It's always people just coming up to me and being like, that was totally stupid. And then me being like, oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Huh.
But nobody does that because that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Also, we're all just insanely passive-aggressive, so it's hard to get someone that direct. In fact, I'd probably be lucky if I had someone to say to my face like that.
Yeah.
What an idiot I was being.
You're being an idiot. I'll tell you. Actually, I probably would.
I feel like even that, though, right, it happened, it was passive-aggressive because you didn't even tell me what about it. You just had a blanket statement and let me try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Which is totally passive-aggressive.
That's what I am. I feel like we've previously stated that, you know. But yeah, I feel like it's just like I didn't have like a bunch of like big group social events growing up. So then when I have them now, it's just kind of like, what do I do? And then there's like a fear about like if I'm doing the right thing in that situation.
Oh, you know what? I also have a fear of, well, most of the time this isn't a thing, but like in larger group situations, like I'll want to say something, but I'll fear that my voice will be too quiet and that I'll have to repeat myself. And I hate repeating myself because I hate it when my voice is too quiet, but also I feel like sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can physically make it loud enough, and so I just don't say anything.
Yeah. Or, like,
yeah.
Do you have a fear about now when people ask you your name? Because they always ask you at least 3 times, or, like, 2 times.
No, always twice.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a fear. I just have an annoyance and
Right.
a desire to carry around a name tag, so that when people say, hi, nice to meet you, I'll be like, hi, I'm Dagny, and then point to my name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a huge issue.
I recently had somebody mess up my name like 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally talked to someone today who was like, yeah, I wasn't sure if, like, the G was silent and your name was, like, Danny. And I was like, interesting. Never gotten that one before.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, it's just, like, if people ask more than twice, like, honestly, if people don't understand what I'm saying by the second time, I just want them to be polite and nod and smile and just ask someone else later.
Yeah, right.
Or ask me to spell it. I am okay with spelling
yeah.
it, because I feel like that's, like, if you don't understand me speaking it and you ask for me to spell it, that's fine. Mm-hmm. Just don't have me speak it over and over. I should carry around a pen and write it down on the other person's hand.
Yeah.
And then my number. That's how I pick up people.
Oh, wow.
Didn't expect some dating advice thrown in there. Have a really complex name that when people ask you, just grab their hand and write your name on it.
Dagny, that's unethical. You gotta ask, can I have your hand? May I touch you? And then you grab it and write on it.
Wait, you have to say, can I have your hand and can I touch you?
No,
what?
one or the other.
Okay.
Like, can I touch you? Can I use this pen on you? And then do it. Verbal consent is necessary.
And it has a subplot about consent. Yep.
Yep.
Laurel would be proud.
I know.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on to a fear for others, which when I'm thinking about it, honestly, this takes up a pretty small amount of, like, fear for me, which is good, I think. I think you shouldn't spend a lot of I don't think you should spend too much energy being afraid for other people, like, that they're going to, like, something bad is gonna happen to them, or they're gonna do the wrong thing, or they're mess up. That's just, like, can be a whole nother level of, like,
yeah,
you taking way too much responsibility for something, like, other people.
I will say, scenario that recently has happened popped into my head as you were speaking, and it's like, okay, so usually when I get home at night, Dagny is here, or it's like somewhere that I know she's going. So when it's like 9:30 at night and she like wasn't home, and I was like, what? Where the fuck is she at 9:30 at night? Like, is someone hurt? So, like, I started not freaking out, but just, like, overthinking why she would be gone that late. And then it was, like, 10:30 or something, and I was like, she's still not home. She has not answered my last text about something completely different. But it's like, she hasn't even looked at it. Okay, I'm, like, worried now. Because that's like, oh my god, did she get kidnapped in her own car? Did she get kidnapped from a place where she was at? Did she run out of gas? Did she leave the country or state? Did somebody get hurt and she had to take them to the hospital?
That's a lot of scenarios.
there's more, I feel like. I was like, is she abandoned on the side of a road right now? Like, huddling to keep warm? And, like,
but
I was so worried.
I have my phone, but I'm just huddling on the side of the road to keep warm.
Well, no! Maybe your phone was dead! Maybe you left it here. Maybe somebody stole it.
There you go.
Because you hadn't answered my text. And then I was like, okay, I'm worried. Who killed you? I think that's the message I sent you.
Yeah.
And you were just like, I'm on my way from the grocery store. It's like, okay, thank God, but where the fuck has she been for the last 2 hours? She was not at the grocery store that long. So, yeah. My fear for others is their well-being and their safety and things like that. And I generally, like, have fear about it when I'm with them in a situation, or, like, if they're alone somewhere. Like, I'm not constantly worrying about that many people.
Right.
But, like, if, like, say we're in Seattle for the day, I'm worried that somebody will get kidnapped, and I gotta keep track of everybody.
Well, low-level worries are different than, like, fear, you know? Like, I feel like it's, like, a situation
no, it's like
thing.
A fear. Well, maybe more in, like, Portland, because that place is, like, the perfect location for sex trafficking, human trafficking, things like that. Like, it's
great place for a weekend getaway, guys.
Yeah, like, it's been, yes. But anyways, I have fears about that, yeah.
Yeah,
but it's low level.
I think I mostly, like, communication with people. If I have communication with people, then I'm, like, usually not afraid for what's going on, because it's like, they're safe and stuff.
Yes, but if they don't communicate, then
yeah,
pure panic.
I think when I think of, like, fear, I feel like what I gravitate toward is, like, the biggest, like, fear is, like, the fear of failure and, like, failing. And I think that, honestly, the fear of missing out, FOMO, the silent killer,
right,
also falls under the fear of failure.
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like a fear of missing out, it's like, if you know something is going on, but you, like, fail to go to it, or, like, experience this experience, then, like, you failed in, like, experiencing life, or, like, finding your biggest happiness, or, like, if other people are happy doing this thing and you didn't go to it, which means you've failed, basically.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of fear about failure, I think. It stems from my need to succeed.
What do you think failure means? Like, why it's so scary? Like, what would it mean if you failed? Because obviously it's, like, it's beyond actually just failing. Because I feel like failing is kind of, like, just, like, the first level of, like, obviously that would be bad. But it's, like, what does that mean? How we interpret it?
So, for me, I think, like, having failure means I feel like I'm letting other people down. Like, people who have invested in me to do this and to succeed in this way. I'm letting them down when I don't succeed that way. And, also, I think I worry and have, like, fear that my ideals in life, like, where I want to go, what I want to do, is unrealistic. And so succeeding would kind of defy my thoughts. But failure means I was correct in that. And I don't want to be correct.
Yeah. I feel like to me, it's like fear that failure defines your whole life or you. Mm-hmm. Or, like, fear that the failure defines your ability in a certain subject.
Right.
Like, my first experiences trying to, like, use command line are just, like, not good. Mm-hmm. But also, I improve every time I try to do it. But I could also list, like, a huge list of things where I'm like, that was, like, kind of like, it didn't feel like a success, really.
Yeah.
And so if I'm like, wow, that, like, could be carried over to basically, like, how I should see all of this area. Like, clearly I failed. Like, there's just nothing more, because that is, it's like, I guess seeing it as not, like, just a step in learning, as anything but a step in learning, is hard, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just, like, a total failure.
Yeah, I just filled out a job application today, and I'm, like, nervous about it, and usually I'd be panicked, like, so fearful that I wouldn't even get the job, and, like, why did I even apply? Mm-hmm. But I feel like I have some knowledge of it, that I'll succeed with it, so I'm, like, fine. But also, I'm just, like, sitting over here thinking about, like, oh my gosh, the fact that, like, I did this one little thing on there when I should have done something different probably means, like, I won't get the job, or, like, I don't have as much experience as, like, other people, so they probably will, like, realize that and then be like, oh, never mind, like, she shouldn't have the job. Well, like, I should. Probably. Maybe. It's up to them, but, like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also now I'm remembering, I have, like, so I turned in some scholarships, which
Right.
apply to scholarships, people.
Yes.
Think about it early. In January. That's when you should think, wait, in January. Or earlier, but, like,
yeah, by, like, beginning of January, it's good to, like, know which ones you're doing and start writing.
Yeah. But anyway, so I was, like, applying to these, but honestly, like, I was so fearful of it, and honestly, I'm still not exactly sure why. I think it was the sense of failure can really escalate if you're an anxious person.
Yeah.
Because 1 minute, like, it's like, you know, you didn't succeed in the one thing, and then the next minute, that whole subject area, you're clearly a failure, and then the next minute, your whole life is a failure.
Right.
If you just, like, let yourself escalate. So thoughts like that can be hard to tamp down once they've gotten out of control. You gotta just keep it.
Yeah.
But I was very afraid of applying for the scholarship. I think because I was like, well, if I don't get it, then I might have not as well applied. Like, why did I spend this energy? And, like, clearly I should have known that I was like, no. But, like, it's a scholarship. Literally not applying would be an even less chance of getting money. That's just a ridiculous chain of logic. It doesn't work. So.
Right. I've been in that same boat, though. Like, my first 2 years, I guess, I didn't apply for scholarships. Because I was like, oh, like, for one, I feel like none of them really worked for me. Like, they didn't really fit my demographic, what I need, or, like, what I was studying, things like that. Which kind of sucks. I think there should be more variety, but, like, also, that's not something that can really happen, so, like, whatever. And then my third year, I guess, I applied. And, like, didn't get any. But I applied to a bunch. But it's just, like, you have to apply. And, like, it didn't hurt anything. It didn't help. Mm-hmm. But, like, it didn't hurt anything. So, like, I'm glad I did it.
Mm-hmm. And in a sense, like, I feel like there's a lot of things in life that you do have to apply for just to, like, see. Mm-hmm. Even if it won't go how you think it will.
Right.
And applying is kind of a skill. So if it helps to see it like that, just be like, I practice the skill of applying to something that I might not get into.
Yeah.
You know? Because, and you know what? That's how you know you're reaching. Because if you always get into everything you apply to, you're probably reaching pretty low.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, that's little comfort if you just feel like a total failure. But
yeah. And you might be one. But I am too. So it's fine. Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like I fear about losing credits. And, like, I hadn't felt that way this year yet. Mm-hmm. And then there were 2 assignments that I hadn't done in my portfolio. And I was, like, so panicked I was going to lose at least 1 credit. And then I just got back my feedback yesterday. And my art teacher was so nice. And she was like, Day, like, has, like, advanced to intermediate things in this. And, like, does detailed writing about this. And I was like, oh, okay, I did okay. Like,
yeah. Weirdly, I'm less concerned about credits because for one, like, if I'd be losing credits, it would be, like, 1 or 2, and I'm kind of like, I could take, like, a class, like, a 4-credit class anywhere to, like, make up for that. So, like, it's less about credits and more just that I'm always afraid I'm going to walk into an evaluation and the teacher is just going to have, like, a really stern look on their face, and they're going to be like, so you did, like, okay, but we're really thinking you need to do a lot better, and this was just, like, barely acceptable work.
Yeah.
But they never say that, ever. Mm-mm. Honestly, I was at a point where I would never read feedback on papers I got. Like, final papers.
Wow.
Ever.
Okay, final. Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, not ones that we'd have to, like, revise. Yeah. But, like, if we didn't have to revise it, I wouldn't read the feedback on it. Because I was afraid of what they were going to say.
Wow.
Which, I'm not really sure where that comes from. Because I can't think of a teacher, or at least a recent teacher, that, like, has said anything bad to me other than, like, hey, you need to turn this in, just, like, so I can give you credit. Which is not bad at all. Mm-hmm. I think I have a fear of getting in trouble.
Oh, same.
And so, like, I don't want authority figures to tell me that I did a bad job in anything.
I hate being disappointment. I feel like that's just failure in itself, to disappoint someone. Like, have somebody say, I'm really disappointed in you, in your work.
Wow.
Oh, man. Like, I've never really had that happen. Mm-hmm. But just the thought, man.
I've been thinking a lot about whether, like, do you grow out of that? Because, like, we're still pretty young. Like, it wasn't that long ago when it did really matter if, like, our parents who we were living with or our teachers who we were spending, like, so many hours every day and they were pretty much in charge of us. Like, you had to, like, notice what those people were saying to you because they did control your, like, life to a large extent. But now, our teachers don't really control our life. Like, we're in charge of showing up in class. Like, we can pretty much
They're in charge of, like, our final evaluation and credit stuff, but it's also, it's up to you to do all of that work to get those credits.
And that's, like, that's not your life, really. No. It's just, like, that's a class. Right. That's what it relates to. We're our own adults, and I wonder if it will, like, wear off a little bit, like, the need to, like, not get in trouble.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it will depend for me what level in a job I'm at.
Because I think it's kind of a good skill to care more, like, to be strong enough in your own values that that's what you're thinking about, not what you're... Because I think it can lead to, like, better moral behavior. If what you're thinking about in this situation is this the right thing to do? You're not thinking, like, would my boss not like this?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or, like, is it acceptable? If I, like, what will my boss think?
Yeah.
Or even other authority figures, like, that maybe aren't there, but, like, what would my parents think if I, like, went to this establishment?
Oh my god, what kind of establishment are we talking about?
It's a secret.
I think I know. We're talking about a grocery store, right?
Not just any grocery store day, but a sketchy grocery store.
Like the Food Mart by our house that I just realized was there. Oh, yeah.
There's a Food Mart by our house?
There is.
Well, we'll have to point that out to me later.
Yeah. I'm telling you, taking the bus is great, but it blindsides you from a lot that happens on the street, man. I was like in the car, it's like, there's a food mart, there's a piano, something over there. What? It was kooky.
Kooky.
Yeah, I just wanted to use that word.
Yeah, I think that goes into, though, like, if you're confident in who you are.
Right.
And then, like, are you afraid of failing yourself or failing other people? That's kind of two different things.
Yeah.
So I feel like a fear of failing other people can be a little bit worked through by becoming more confident in yourself. Because if that's what you wanted and that's a failure to other people, like, they're just going to have to deal with that, and you're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think as you become more of an adult, you become more in charge of your own life decisions, and I think it's kind of less, what do other people need or want me to do? I mean, there's still, like, I know some people who, like, feel obliged to, like, follow what their family wants of them. Things like that, you know? But for the most part, it's kind of like you become your own individual person and you have to make life choices. And worrying about if it, like, is, not everybody else's choice. I'm not saying that right. If you worry about how other people are going to think about it constantly, then you're not going to make the right choice. Probably. Or, like, it's going to be harder for you, and then you're going to be more worried about it and have more fear around it. So in the end, you just got to be your own person and deal with it and do the decision. That didn't make sense at all. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. And I have also been thinking about the idea of, like, so if the answer is to, you know, accept yourself on some level, then, like, are you, like, afraid of who you are? In a way. Because we're all flawed people, so part of you is accepting, like, that you're good at things, but also accepting that you're bad at things. And, like, the whole picture, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think the whole picture of yourself is scary to look at sometimes? Or do you feel like, no, I've spent a long time trying to cultivate this whole deal I have going, so it's all good?
No, it's extremely scary. Going back to failure, and, like, having unrealistic life ideals and wants. Like, I worry about that. So, like, if I'm looking at what I want my life picture to be, yeah, it's fucking freaky because I don't think I'm going to be able to achieve that.
You know, a lot of people would say that if you think you can't do it, you won't.
Yeah, but I'm doing it. I'm going to defy myself. But
I mean, you're doing it so far, but, like, how far will that take you is all I'm saying.
Very far, Dagny, very far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You have any desire to, like, change your core beliefs about whether or not you can succeed? I feel like that's what I'm trying to do, because to me, that's the only reason I feel like I can get through my desired career path, is to believe that I can do it, because I feel like the path isn't, like, the path is being open and also, like, kind of going out of my way to, like, do stuff. Like, I think it would I think it would be easier if it was, like, I was going to, like, more schooling. Mm-hmm. Or even a program that, like, hooks you up with things. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, no, I just need to forge my own way.
See, I think for me, I have faith that I will... Well, I also believe that, like, what happens for a reason. So whatever happens in my life, it might be shitty and it might suck, but I'm like, okay, this was probably supposed to happen, and I'll, like, maybe it's even better, you know? Or maybe I have to dig my way out of it, but I learned a lot from it. So, like, that was really good. But I think that I have confidence that I will be able to get where I want to go for the most part. I'll be able to do what I want to do, be who I want to be, things like that. I'm just not sure on the path there. And that's where I could mess up. So that's where it's scary. But, like, I'm confident with the end result.
Okay.
To some, like, if I'm thinking about the basics of the end result, I'm confident with that, yes.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. So then, you know, that'll help at least.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, what words of wisdom and helpful tools do we have for overcoming fear? This is the advice portion of the podcast that you've been so desperately waiting for.
Right? Yes.
That, you know, will leave you crying in a stairwell. Mm-hmm. I know none of you have cried in a stairwell yet.
You gotta do it at least once.
Try it once.
I mean, I haven't either, but, like...
We should both try it at least once. I actually know, you know what? No, I do know someone who has, so... They will remain anonymous for their own protection. Actually, probably 2 people. So,
but you haven't yourself.
No, I haven't myself.
So
but just know that everyone's doing it. Because think of how many people I know. It's a very small number. And if at least 2 people I know have done it, have admitted to doing it, clearly everyone's doing it. So you should join it. Peer pressure. Definitely go cry in a stairwell.
Go cry in a stairwell right now.
After we tell you these tips about being confident, go cry.
Yeah.
All right, so my first tip is a really kind of low-level thing for, like, social situations, which is that if you're afraid of looking stupid, something that I do that I think helps is to think to myself, if you mess up and people notice, you messing up is literally so insignificant in people's lives.
Right.
Like, nobody is going to remember or care at all. Because you're the one who cares most about your own failure. So if you're, like, worried about, like, looking dumb, just think to yourself, I don't matter.
Yeah, nobody's gonna, like, be thinking years later, oh, right, remember when Dagny, like, was dancing alone in the middle of a party? No one's gonna care about that.
Or no one's gonna be like, remember that time that someone raised their hand in class and then answered it, like... totally the opposite of the real answer? No, because nobody cares.
Like, forgot about that. I hate talking in class because of fear. Oh my gosh. But like, yeah,
especially in like class situations, like people don't remember you looking like a total idiot. People remember you talking everyone's ear off forever and never stop talking.
Yes.
But if you just make a mistake, that's fine.
Right. Yeah.
Those poor people that have a fear of talking too much, I've just triggered all of them.
I know. I feel like one thing for me is realizing that you can't control everything, because I think I have fear around everything because I can't control it. So just realizing that you have to like let go of that control component helps. Yeah. Just letting life happen.
Yeah. My next one is to, if you're really experiencing, like, intense fear, is to calm your flight or fight system. Or as Day has advised me, it's called fight or flight.
Yes. Fight is first, not flight.
I don't know. I definitely run before I fight, so...
Well, there's fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
That's the real one.
That's true. And you know what I do in
your
the
amygdala.
Opposite?
Calm your amygdala.
First I freeze. If that doesn't work, then I'll run. And if that doesn't work, then I'll fight.
Yeah.
I'm a rabbit. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so you can't do any high-level strategies involving fear if your brain is on total lizard mode and it's ready to run away. So, breathe, calm yourself, get in a sauna and then take a cold shower, jump in a cold lake, calm yourself.
Okay, if you don't have time for that many steps, I was actually just talking about anxiety yesterday in my class. And so it was kind of interesting because, I don't know, I get very anxious when I have fear, I think. And, it's just kind of, okay. So I'm a fearful person, and I blame that kind of on my mother for being fearful about things. But it honestly helped me to realize it was because I grew up in a situation that was super fearful. And now, like, I know reasons why I have irrational fears about things. So it helps me. So, like, okay, I'm walking alone at night at, like, 11. Yes, okay, everybody's fearful when I tell them that I walk alone downtown at night. And I was, like, really fearful of it, like, the first few times I did it, because I was like, oh my god, like, this is so dangerous. But that's because my mother instilled in me to be safe all the time, and that it's very dangerous to walk alone, because, like, I'm a young woman who could be snapped up at any second.
I mean, most people would agree it's not the height of safety to do that.
No, but I literally have never gotten in a bad situation doing it. And yes, I know I say that and then I could get snapped up tomorrow. But, like, it's fine. It's whatever. It's fine. My point is that once I realized it wasn't that I was just scared of it, it was that I had been, like, brought up to be scared of it. Mm-hmm. And that, like, it's not really a full blown out fearful situation. It helped me relieve that fear of that.
Yeah. Learn where your fears are coming from. So does it help you to know that, you know, evolutionarily, we are probably afraid of snakes and spiders to save ourselves? Does that help you get over that fear of snakes and spiders?
It could. I mean, it didn't help that a couple days ago when I was about to walk alone at night, somebody told me about a 50-foot anaconda that they had found. Not them specifically, but in the news they had seen. And yes, that is nowhere near in Washington. But yes, I was fucking freaked out and thought about it the entire walk downtown. And then started thinking about Harry Potter and the Basilisk. And, like, how that whole thing. And then Lord Voldemort's snake and yellow snakes that I've seen in stores. Yeah, it got out of hand.
That is your last one is snakes that I've seen in stores.
Yes, it freaks me out and it's behind my eyes right now. I see the image.
Okay, well, we gotta get away from
that. That fear is not overcome. Don't be like me. Although I know where that fear is from.
My next tip for getting past fear is to think to yourself, is it worth it? Which is a really easy thing to do. Like, this is more of, like, a high level question. Like, say you're afraid of, like, I don't know, applying to something, or, like, asking someone out, or, like, putting your art on display so people could see it, you know? Mm-hmm. But then you just think to yourself, like, if it goes well, like, would it be worth it to, like, be afraid right now and still, like, to do it anyway, even though I'm afraid, and then, like, get the results of doing it? And then if the answer is yes, then you just, like, power on through it. But I think it's easier to accept and be like, it's okay that I'm afraid right now, because this is a worthwhile price to whatever I'm getting to doing this activity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just trying it, I think.
Yeah.
Like, if it's worth it.
Right. And even if your thing is, like, I think it's worth it to try new things, even though this is kind of freaking me out right now, I think trying new things is a worthwhile endeavor. Right. And then maybe that's why you do it.
I mean, I asked somebody out and was freaked out the entire time I was doing it. Mm-hmm. But it kind of worked out. So, like...
What did you think to yourself to get past that fear? Or did you just push it away?
Well, okay, so it was that I had a crush on somebody, and I felt like if I didn't act upon it, it would only increase, and it wouldn't go away, and it wouldn't help anything. And so I was like, this person's probably gonna say no, so I should just ask so it's out of my system, I can let that person go and find somebody else. But then they said yes, so I didn't have to find somebody else. And I didn't have to let go.
has a boyfriend.
No, don't even say that! But, I felt like even if the answer was no, it would still be better than being in the situation of not knowing.
So it was worth it to know the answer.
Yes, it was worth it to know the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any other advice, so you can do your last one.
My last one is just that if whatever you're afraid of happens, it'll actually be okay, which is a hard thing to really agree with, especially in the throes of fear. Be like, are you kidding? No. How could it possibly be okay? But the fact is that if whatever happens, if you're afraid of something and it happens, honestly, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. Might suck. You might be in pain for months or years or for the rest of your life, but it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one to end on. It will be okay.
Mm-hmm. But your life will be even more okay if you cry in a stairwell.
Oh my god. I'm gonna go find one right now.
You'll
cry about snakes.
You gotta do it when the time is right.
Oh, the time is right.
All right.
Okay, let's wrap up today with a question. We're not trying to scare you here, but we do need to know, are you afraid of us? Is that why you aren't sending us emails?
You can find us on Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, CastBox, and Messy. Just search for Basically Misled.
Send us your fears at basicallymisled@gmail.com. Just don't talk about snakes. Thanks for listening and good luck with your future endeavors.